Hi guys, and today I'm going to be reviewing Chapter 7, which is drugs. Okay, so it's going to be an interesting chapter because there's a lot to go over, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on that right now. We're going to be talking about both illegal substances and legal substances as we go through this. All right, so we are going to start, first of all, with the objectives. Okay, we're going to talk about deductive reasoning and looking at analytical data, the limitations of presumptive tests, which are screening tests. We're going to go into a little bit about the electromagnetic spectrum and spectroscope analysis and the danger of using prescription drugs, controlled substances, over-the-counter medications, and illegal drugs. Obviously, not being in a classroom, we're not going to be able to perform these experiments, but we are going to talk about them. So we're going to talk about how illicit drug types get classified and classifying illicit drugs and their negative effects, federal penalties for possession and control of use, substances, and the need for confirmatory tests. We're also going to look at IR and UV VIS spectroscopy and GCMS, but again, I'm not going to be too terribly concerned about that. We're going to look at some graphs so you can learn how to identify them because you will have, I believe, on your next test. When we talk about Chapter 7, a little bit about drug testing. So that's that. All right, so drugs and crime. All right, so what is a drug? A drug is a natural or synthetic substance that is designed to affect a subject psychologically or physiologically, okay? It can affect the function or the structure of living tissue through various chemical reactions. When it is taken in effects or in excessive amounts and it causes either illness or death, it's considered a poison. Most drugs, though, however, are considered legal substances. Okay, they're prescribed. And we'll talk about when that stuff gets misused because that is unfortunately very prevalent in our society today. Controlled substance. So if you hear the term controlled substance, you know that these drugs are restricted by law. The Controlled Substance Act was enacted in 1970, and it talks about illegal drugs, their categories, penalties for possession, sale, and use. And it divides everything into schedules. Okay, so in looking at the schedules, we're going to start off with Schedule 1, and Schedule 1 is actually the strictest schedule out there, high potential for abuse, no currently accepted medical use in the U.S. There is no accepted safety for use under medical supervision. Examples would be heroin, LSD, marijuana, and ecstasy. Now, little side note here, while marijuana is legal in some states under certain situations, it still remains federally illegal. The laws are just kind of really, really tricky when it comes to marijuana now that it's been legalized in some states. Schedule 2 drugs, high potential for abuse. They are currently accepted medical use with severe restrictions. Abuse can lead to dependence. Cocaine is obviously illegal. Morphine, amphetamines, PCP, Ritalin. Schedule 3, lower potential abuse. Current accepted medical use in the U.S., but again, abuse can lead to physical or psychological dependence. Barbiturates, anabolic steroids, ketamine, those are examples of Schedule 3s. Schedule 4s are low potential for abuse, currently acceptable medical use. But again, if you abuse it, it can lead to dependence. Okay, stimulants and depressants, Valium, Xanax, Librium, phenobarbital, Darvron. These are examples of Schedule 4s. And Schedule 5 is the low potential for abuse. It can still be abused and lead to dependence if it's misused. Codeine and cough syrups is a prime example. All right, so there are two terms that you're going to be hearing: illegal versus illicit. An illegal drug is one that you cannot have it. It's against the law to have it, to use it, or to distribute it. If it's an illicit drug, it's a legal drug. Mainly prescriptions and stuff like that are common, but it's used in the wrong way. Okay, so let's say you're on medicine for depression or something, and you give some to someone else for depression. Technically, that's considered illicit because they don't have the prescription. Or if you take it for one of the side effects is that you get seriously awake. Okay, it stimulates you. But you find yourself using it more and more to stay awake. That's illicit use of a prescription drug. All right, in our society, okay, the Office of National Drug Control Policy estimates that illegal use in America costs about $193 billion, okay? And the trend is increasing about 5% each year. 30% of prisoners commit the current offense while under the influence of drugs. In 2002, 4.7 homicides out of the, 4.7%